says no. What about love? Just 1 second. Yeah, I mean, it helps against the scramblers do some damage, but really the strikes I think is the most effective tool in catching them. Other than that, I mean, they're pretty much away if they're not killed on the stand. Yeah, bad day for Arca's stats anyway. I mean, he's going to take 4 more losses here.
Such important stats though.
Can you get a hold of anyone?
I'm trying Epiotic as well.
Okay, we'll just take anything we can get really. I mean, they all look the same.
It sort of felt like 7 versus 7 was a bit slower though.
Yeah, I don't really think it's good for the game. I mean,
perhaps if there was were disc jumps and higher energy region and stuff like that, you'd see a higher pace of the game. But it felt like the game took a punishment from moving down just 1 man. In my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I agree definitely. I mean, the thing is, it worked in classic cluster because it was everyone could get across the map in like no time. I mean, it was possible to have. I mean, the game gets exciting when there's a lot of people fighting over a flag, basically. And we don't really get so many of these like insane sort of clustery situations with only like 3 or 4 people involved. Because I think you get the situation where it's like the rate at which people get focused down, rather than how many people are involved. It's like in a 3-on-3, 1 person dies and then the next people dies like really quickly. But a 4v4 takes longer to break down. Do you see what I mean? Possibly not.
Sorry, I was focusing on typing typing in the IRC.
Well, imagine you have a fight of 4 people fighting over a flag, or 4 people on each team, right?
Yeah.
That fight will go on a bit longer because it'll break down. It'll become one-sided, like a little more slowly. Like it might go 4-on-4 and then 3-on-3, 2-on-2. Right? But if it starts 3-on-3, it tends to go, I think, 3-on-2, 3-on-1 very quickly. So that the fights get decided a lot more quickly, I think.
See if we can find anyone to come on to the cast here.
See if anyone will remote. Mono says he wants to come on. Not sure if we have any kind of censorship available, but we might want to risk that one. Okay. Get him to add mim. We'll deal with Mono first, I think. Okay, so apparently the Finns don't use Skype. Much like the French and the Germans, they're still using ICQ. More power to them, really. But one of them says he might be able to fix it in time.
Where's Mono?
Mono will be incoming very shortly. There we go. Mono law contact requested. I'll add him for the no.
I think you didn't quite add to the call here there.
No, you have to give him the contact. This is modern Skype, man. If you've not been keeping up. Oh, sounds like we got someone new in the call. Hello, Mono.
Hi, this is really, really loud.
Okay, great. Alright, so just take a second to fix whatever you need to, and then we'll try and think of some questions.
Just go with questions now.
Okay.
I'll pretty much just live with being deaf.
So Shrikes, what do you feel about them today?
Do you want the PC version or the R version?
Just go with whatever, really. I mean, this is your moment, man.
They're a fucking joke. Does that sum it up well enough? I can't hear a thing on this Skype, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, there's quite a lot of noise coming back, actually. You might want to change something 1 second.
I'm not even sure who it is. Is it me?
I think it's...
Yeah, I think so.
I have my mic muted half of the time, so it can't... stop now.
Oh, thank fuck for that. Alright, great. Yeah, so Shrikes, too strong, right.
Yeah, they are, basically. There's just nothing they can't do. They, basically, for each Shrike you have, from what we've seen, it's like having an extra player. It was basically 9 against 7 when they double striked, because even if he's just going to strike cap, all of the 4 cluster missiles, they just knock you off the stand, straight through, 300 speed, can't touch him, 8 seconds later he's capped. Okay.
I think that's a valid point actually, yeah, they definitely give you way too much. Considering most players in the game are so limited in their mobility, I think the strikes with sort of infinite mobility and range are too powerful at the moment and really need to be adjusted in some way. I understand that they're so much easier to fly than previous strikes as well. I mean, the T2 strike had a lot of cool things it could do in terms of like turning backwards and such things, but it was also much more difficult to learn, I think. This strike just seems to fly wherever you want it to.
And you would always have to manage that energy in the T2 strike. If you took some hits, you couldn't do as much speed boost and couldn't use your weapons in the end and stuff like that, which I think balanced it out a bit.
Okay.
I've personally never played T2, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that, but energy-based firing seems quite nice.
But did you feel the strike had a bigger impact on 7 versus 7 than, say, 8 versus 8 then?
Yes, because there is generally one less person to attack the strike. I mean,
yeah, it takes that much longer to take each strike out of the game, I think.
We generally try and focus them down if possible, but when there's just one less person flying around, 2 of them just become unmanageable. 1 you can live with, 2 it's just, why even bother? Just 5 cap it out and let's get on the next map, please.
I see. Do you feel like, I mean, you guys ran a sniper today and Finland didn't. Do you feel like your sniper contributed as much as the strikes did?
No, but that's due to no fault of our care, however much I'd love to blame him. It's just nothing is as strong as a strike. A decent strike pilot in the game at the moment, it's just unstoppable. You just have to look at IDK. Shav and Krista just dominate everyone with them.
So we're not fans of 7v7 then?
Not if...
fans of...
I could see it working if a few things were changed, but the number 1 on that list is definitely strike. It was a lot, what's the word? It was a lot more compact. It wasn't constant, it was very, you knew they were coming and you knew they'd be there for 5-10 seconds and then they'd disappear. Whereas if there's just one extra player, sometimes it felt like the action was more constant as opposed of, okay, we've killed their attackers now, we wait another 30 seconds for them to get back.
Yeah, I definitely felt that way watching the stream, that we thought the game suffered a bit for being 7v7 at the moment.
Yeah, especially on Bella Omega, I think.
Foam saying he thinks 7v7 works for non-air-centric maps, but I would argue at the moment that, given how strong the strikes are, all maps are air-centric.
Yeah.
Apart from Drydock, I guess. I've never really seen the strikes dominate that much on Drydock.
Would be nice to see some maps without the vehicle pads as well, I think.
By some maps, I assume you mean all? Or I'm hoping you mean all maps?
No, actually I think they add something to the game, and but the map has to be made around having strikes in it and tanks and whatnot. And yeah, the small maps probably shouldn't have vehicles at all.
Yeah, I think given that there's no business reason to be trying to force vehicles really, because they're not being sold in any fashion at the moment. I guess vehicle skins might be something that's sold later on, but I mean other than that, there's no vehicle driving class. There's no particular like financial motivation to have them on every map. We could definitely have non-vehicle maps, as we've always had in Tribes before. I think it really encourages a range of skill sets as well. And also, I mean, if we had a non-vehicle map that we were playing at the moment and we found it was so much better without vehicles, it would definitely hint at, you know, how much better the gameplay could be without the strikes.
I'm hoping that, I mean, Bart's got a lot of experience in this, and I know he doesn't have a final say in everything that happens, but I'm hoping where he's watching most of these games he can see that, I mean, from a personal point, well, from a personal perspective, I can't really speak for everyone else, but they really bore me to tears. The whole... Don't get me wrong, I think vehicles belong in Tribes games, but from what I've seen from looking at old versions of Tribes, they were not the be-all and end-all of Tribes, which in this, 2 good strike pilots are the be-all and end-all of your attack and defense.
Well, a good strike pilot could make a huge difference back in Tribes 2, I'd say, but...
you needed to do things to make it work, though. I mean, you needed to really be like preventing their base preventing them kitting as well and stuff. I mean, and stopping them from getting their own strikes up. Like it worked well alongside like a heavy base route strategy on old Katabatic, I remember. Then the strike was just suddenly lethal. But the rockets are really good against strikes. At the moment, they're just not at all.
Yeah, and I think you didn't have as many opportunities to kill the actual capper when you were piloting the strike back in Tribes 2 either. But yeah, I think they will take all of this into consideration and hopefully change it a bit, and we should see some better games.
Hopefully.
Yeah, just given that we've been, I mean, talking about strikes from almost game 1 of these like beta scrims. I know the first beta scrim that was played in America didn't actually feature strikes because the games were like very short and didn't get to the strike stage, but they said we'd planned to use strikes. But since then every game has featured strikes, I think, in quite a heavy way, and they've been dominant all the time. I mean, it really does need to be toned down. It must be on the agenda, you know. The nerf to reduce their health didn't really seem to make that much difference when they're so like accessible. You just die and get another one. Given the amount of credits they cost as well, like, perhaps making them cost 15k credits would be more interesting. Like then it would be a real loss if you end up losing the strike.
I could live with that.
Yeah, or the whole
cents,
team pool with credits would be a solution as well, with a
or
fixed
if you have
amount.
like exactly a set amount that you start with, and you can only purchase so many strikes with that amount of credits.
Or do base upgrades. So yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Or, you know, just make
some
them less
choices.
powerful. That would be cool too.
Yeah.
Rather than having a
That would be
50k
nice.
credit instant nuke that wins the game, like I don't really think anyone wants to see that.
No.
Okay. Alright.
Did you
Anything else
find
you-
anyone from Finland? No?
None of the Finns want to come on, apparently. So yeah, all on you, Mono. Really. When's your next game? Do you want to plug that?
Yeah, we're against you tomorrow.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I don't think that's going to get casted for obvious like, technical reasons.
So yeah,
Unless
after,
Bart was it.
well, after the 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0 tomorrow, I suppose we can get a mix going or something.
I'm pretty sure we'll be dropping penalty caps. We're going to be running at least 4 strike pilots though, so make sure when you crash the strikes that they do die. If you just bail out of them and leave them there, you will be playing against 3 or 4 strikes tomorrow. Don't worry about that.
Gentlemen's agreement, no strikes.
One of them's
no
just going to
scramblers.
hover around Arcatizzle the entire game until he literally starts weeping. Bad day for his stats. That's all we're going to end on, I think, today.
Every day's a bad day for our stats.
Whoa. Not sure where to go with that. Right. Yeah. So I hope we see a patch soon. Actually, thank fuck for that. I think that would be great. Some kind of patch. If Bart's still listening, a patch, please.
Even if it's just a patch that removes strikes, I'd live with that, please.
Okay. Yeah.
What was that, Bart?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Oh,
Well, when are you removing strikes, Bart?
I said this on the American cast last night. I guess you guys didn't say it this year. Kind of, so I don't blame you. But I think that in general, looking at strikes in terms of balance, that the main problem for me is their viability versus both ground and air targets. That would be where I would look to target any kind of changes to the vehicle. Just to make it so that you have to make a choice. They're very strong all around right now, and I would like to see them more specialized.
Where would you see the specialisation aiming towards, though? Ground or air?
I think air, probably. I think that you should be able to be a little bit more effective as a capper. Like, ultimately you want it to be 50-50, right? Where it's half the time the capper is able to evade them. Or maybe a little bit less in favor, maybe 55-45 or something like that. But you generally want it to be so that there's at least some drama, not just that the strike is just going to end up mowing them down at some point on the route, whether it's the first pass or the second. So I think that's my general feelings on strike right now.
okay, cool. Do you know anyone who can stream tomorrow, Bart?
Are you guys playing working as intended?
Yeah.
Yep.
Why do you do that?
Has happened. It's been ages ago, so.
We like to share the losses out around the community. We're not greedy like that.
I
don't feel like that.
I don't know, maybe Disket or something.
Okay.
I don't have
think
anyone.
the main issue is we need someone to actually do the streaming. I think
Right,
we probably
right,
find
right.
commentators. It's just like no one's got the actual like bandwidth for that.
No, I don't know anybody off the top of my head, but I can ask around and we can figure something out, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see what happens then.
Yeah.
If not, then, you know, whatever. we'll figure it out. I mean, ultimately, someone should step up. Actually, I got a guy in mind, maybe.
It's alright, we'll only need them for about half an hour, so.
I think Mono probably needs to go lie down or something.
I'm just being realistic.
Okay, well, thank you, Mono, for joining us.
Anything.
Bart, anything you want to say before we close it down about Facebook or whatnot?
Sure. So, if you guys are watching and this was your first game of Tribes Ascend that you watched, and you do not currently play the game and would like to, be sure to head over to Facebook and like Tribes Ascend, and that will get you your beta key. You can get the game client from tribesascend.com, and you can find out about upcoming games by following me on Twitter, or the Twitter, at HighResBart. And you can find me in the game as HighResBart. You can find me on the forums as HighResBart, and I will be HighResBart anywhere you need me. So look for me there, and I'd be happy to assist you in anything you need. So thanks for coming, and thanks to the guys from Hindsight for casting the game and streaming for us. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
And also for a new player, first 4,500 credits, spend them on a strike. Set for life, you can join any team, I think. Always recruiting good strikers, I think. Okay. Sorry about that. Anything else?
Sorry if I speak too fast. I see them getting mad at me.
Aww.
Yeah, that's really confusing. I'm pretty sure I speak faster than everybody here because of where I come from and how I speak to everyone else. You speak the slowest. It's really confusing.
But actually someone says, Bart's voice is fit for radio, which I have to agree with actually. I think Bart and Mim would be a radio show I'd listen to. Well, as long as they're talking about patch notes.
I actually am intending to do when we take the servers down to patch, I'm going to do a show during the downtime. So,
is it going to be in February? Just any clue, Bart, come on.
It will be sooner than later, I will say.
Please don't release it on the 2nd or the 3rd, like, please. Release
February?
it before. Yeah, because if you release it then, I'm going to be way too pissed out of my head to do anything.
Okay.
Alright, how about that?
But yeah, I'd like before February if possible.
Yeah.
Well, we are pushing for that, certainly. And like I said, I mean, it's basically one of those things that it's, you know, when it's done, it can't go in halfway done because it'll have serious ramifications. So it's got to be completely done and tested before we can turn it on. When we do, I expect you to like it. Well,
Disc
I
jump.
expect
Thank you
we'll
very
like
much,
it.
Bart.
Not that I
Disc
have
jumps, yeah?
expectations, You like it.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Romantic.
Romantisch, yeah. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, that is at Hindsight with a Z on the end. Tomorrow the game will be up on YouTube. The channel is Hindsight Tribes for this video on demand and previous games as well.
Okay, and I've received a message from Arco. He says if Creeper is listening or available, he'd like him to add the stats as soon as possible. Okay, maybe a bit too obsessed with these stats.
Any shout-outs before we go down?
Shout out to EC Mr. Lee from Tribes 2 for letting me take some screenshots of the match he was in just now. Okay. That's it for me.
Very cool. Little shout-out to Zobi. Anyone else?
No, I think everyone's pretty much received their shout-outs already.
Well, thanks for listening.
Oh, I'd like to shout out to Flamu, actually. He was conspicuous by his absence today.
I can explain Flamu's absence if you want.
He says he hates the game, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my shout-out. So yeah, wrap it up, Mim.
Well, just wait for the patch, I think. Really. Should be good.
Okay, well, thank you very much for listening, and you might see us tomorrow on a stream, maybe somewhere, if something gets arranged. Good evening.
Yeah, well, goodbye.
Bye-bye.